Our final game of today, Mack Meller and Seth Lipkin. Another huge game. Seth now in third place in Division 2, 2 games back of both Mack Meller and Ian Weinstein. Now with 8 games to go before sequestering off the top 2 players into a best of 5 for the championship. Seth really wants a win here, or else he will fall 3 games behind with just 7 to go. A big game for Seth. A victory here for Mack would give him a lot of cushion going into the last day. Even a 3-4 last day would put him in the championship probably if he can win this game. So both players looking for a much needed W as this one gets spicier and spicier. Mack and Seth, Jared, what should we look forward to in this game?
Yeah, we want to see some more fireworks. The last one was over a bit too quickly. I'd like to see a nice close game, regardless of who wins.
Yeah, close games have been kind of the theme across this tournament. While we did just see one drubbing, we've had very few of them. And when you see players consistently of this caliber across the field, you're going to get high level Scrabble pretty consistently. Mack has been playing lights out. Seth has also been playing very well on stream and clearly very well off stream to have the record he has. Seth was in first place coming into today, has hit a few bumps in the road, but still in third place, 14-6, and he has substantial spread on both Mack and Ian. So really, game and a half back, not 2 for Seth. A win here could do a lot for him.
It absolutely could. Seth's just going to shake the tiles, and Mac will be drawing first here.
These are players who have played each other a lot, who will likely see a lot more of each other over the coming years as well, but the stakes extremely high in this one. And Mack and Seth, we are underway.
Oh, that's a good draw. I'll let people in the chat see if they find a bingo here.
It is where I have been trapped. Okay. I dismay. Or you can play its anagram too. Go ahead and spoil it now. 2 7-letter words in this rack. Indoors or Sordino. The 2 words in this rack for Mack. He knows these words. He's a monster. He knows every 7-letter word. He'll find them. He's just got to pick his preferred play here.
You know what? I asked for fireworks, and we're going to get 2 opening bingos in a row. Look at that draw by Seth as he separates his 2 blanks to the right side of his rack.
Wow. So Sordino for Mack, DENTL blank for Seth. Fireworks indeed. But I also worry about exhausting all of the good tiles from this bag. We're going to be left with A's and clunky consonants at the end of this one. Sordino to play Mack opting for here. Indoors does play for 2 additional points, but slotting the S on the star, asking Seth to bingo 2 or from it, is pretty risky. So Mack leaving 2 points on the table to play a little bit of defense here. Sordino, the play from Mack. This word does not take any hooks. No back S on Sordino. Keep that in mind. It's an alternate spelling of sordine, Sordine. That word does take the S, but the plural of sordino is only sordini. Change that O to an I. DELNT blank for Seth. Don't spend too much time. Just find a double and put it down. You're not going to score more points than this. And Seth has found one here, quickly cashing in the 2 blanks he's drawn.
Yep, not too much to say there. So the only thing is, will both players be sure Sordino does not take an S? I think Mack 100%. Otherwise, he would have played indoors. Whereas Seth, it remains to be seen how confident he is that it does not take an S.
Yeah, it's one of those Scrabble things that you just have to think about all the time in this game. Okay, Seth definitely knows the word sordini, and if you know anything at all about etymology, you can conclude sordini is a plural of sordino. You just got to ask yourself, does it have 2 plurals that are acceptable, or is sordini the only one? So we'll see if that comes into play later on. Maybe Seth tries it in desperation, but Seth, a very solid player. I bet he has seen this come up before. After the bingo bango opening, Mack trails by 10, 68-78, and he has found 5 vowels, A-A-E, L-O-T-T. He has a really nice play out of these vowels, though. Using the R in Sordino, he can spell out aorta, Aorta. Could also play aortol, putting the L at the end. Those are 20 and 22 points. Work out of a bad rack very quickly. He's also got smaller options, just playing off an A and an O. TAO from the T and entoiled is 10 and keeps a more bingo prone leave. Jared, what do you feel? Play short, play long, do something else completely?
Well, I don't play how Mac normally does, but I like to keep things a bit tight. I think I'd be playing Aorta out of those you suggested, but I can't say with any certainty that that is any better than the other options you said.
Yeah, there's not too much, and Mac will spot these stacking intermediate plays. These can be tricky, but uh, Mac doesn't miss stuff like this. He sees so many plays so fast. He's been playing for so long. He plays blitz. Mac plays games blindfolded against computers and beats them anyway. He's a monster. He's going to find aorta. He's going to play aorta. 20 hard-earned points for Mac. A nice play there.
And Seth, on his first turn, drew the 2 tiles in the bag worth 0, and on his second turn, he draws the 2 tiles in the bag worth 10. So he is really doing well with his drawing so far.
Yeah, wow. Okay, so we're disputing the score here. Double, triple, quadruple checking. Arithmetic, not the strong suit for certain Scrabble players, but aorta is 20 points. Whatever they're coming to, we're not going to tell them, but 20, the sum on that play. 88 for Mac, 78 for Seth. But Seth, Aaneqtz, threatens 50 points with cannot above the E in toil.
And that's going to come down quickly. I don't see any reason for him to wait here.
Oh, he sees pot. There he goes. Okay. Gave us just a moment of pause as QAT stacks nicely next to Sordino. 29 points. You love slamming stuff shut, but 50, I think, far, far too much for Seth to pass up. Seth feels the same way. Cannot for 50. Seth's second play of the game. He's up 128 to 88 now.
If I were afraid of not knowing if Sordino takes an S, maybe I would consider a play like that. But even then, 50 points, you just got to take the points here. As Mac does have a U, but I don't see that he has a word that's going to be able to make it to either of the triple word scores.
EEEGLOU. No plays from the Q, and now Mac has to try to figure out if he wants to keep the U, usually such an unwieldy tile, but on this board in this instance, actually a pretty strong one. If he does want to keep the U, he'll need to try to distract Jared from playing over there. OGEE and OD above entoiled is 18, holds ELU. That hits Q plays a lot for Mac next turn, but it also opens up a triple when he doesn't really need to do that. So that's an option, and it's an enticing one. I can see it going right often, but it's also a hard play to make. Outside of that play, Mac is left with a bunch of mediocre options. LEAGUE plays through the first A and cannot for 18. OG plays in a number of different spots. OGEED plays down to the D and entoiled, a small point sacrifice to slot an O instead of an E in a triple. Eugenol, EUGENOL plays through the N, but Mac opting to play OG here, definitely playing some offense with this play, but I think this is a good calculated risk for him. The U too powerful to avoid or to play in this situation.
Yeah, you want to keep the U. I might have leaned towards OG just because the O is a bit less scary in the lane. But at the same time, if you want to hit the Q next turn, you want your opponent to play with the E. But Seth won't be playing with the E because he has drawn an oversized bingo. And not only is it a bingo, but that Z is going to triple.
Oversized from the V for 92 points. And that is not Seth's only bingo this turn. He has another option. If that triple truly scares him, he's got a 73 pointer and a 9. Flex on the stream for us a little bit. But 92, the best option here for Seth.
And he had it set up on his rack before, so I do think he'll come back to it. But nice use of his clock here. He hasn't used much time yet, so might as well really think through this position.
And there he is. He spotted it, giddily sets it up, and throws it down 92 points. As soon as you spot this, you put it down. Oversized, nice from Seth. 3 for 3 on correct turns this game, and averaging over 70 points per turn. 220 for Seth, just 3 turns into this game. Mack is an uphill climb, but if anybody can do it, it's Mack. And he's cashed in that U nicely, finding a second U, but he won't let that from deterring him. Pook for 51. An awesome play here from Mack.
Yeah, I'm seeing it's being defined as a fermented Mexican beverage made from agave. Would certainly like to try that sometimes. If you think these words seem a bit strange, just remember this is the top of the top. Most players you'll play against won't be playing these. And another thing to remember, the words are being defined in the little scroller at the bottom of the screen. So if you're ever wondering what they mean, you can just watch it as it goes by the ticker.
Now, I will go ahead and say for those just tuning in, hopping in maybe from the most recent Will Anderson video or stumbling in through social media posts from Scrabble players, A, welcome, and B, knowledge of the words definitions is absolutely not required in order to be able to play them. In fact, most top players do not know what half the words they play even mean. They just know that they can play them. So I guess if this is a Mexican beverage, it's pulque, and but it doesn't matter as long as Mack knows he can put those tiles together in that order. And a nice draw from Mack Devisel for him. Seth is scoring a ton of points, but Mack will not go down without a fight in this game. More points from Mack lined up next turn. Back to Seth. He pulled the J or the Z and the Q together earlier in this game, the blank and the blank together earlier in this game, and now the J and the X together. Scrabble given Seth a ton of goodies, and he needs to figure out the best way to play these off. XU and EX is 50 right now, but Juke plays to the E and oversize for 45 and holds XU for next turn. Julep opens up the board a little bit more, but is also a really nice play here for Seth. What do you see here, Jared? How would you approach this situation?
Yeah, I like playing, I think Juke or Julep being another drink, but only because I'd want to maybe hit the X next turn. The X scores more now, but you're also taking out that dangerous E, so I think I'd be playing, like, I like how he plays Juke here because it takes out both of the scary triple lanes.
Yeah, no, this is a good choice. If you're ahead, control the board. If there's 2 E's and triples, make that spot go away. And sitting on XU for next turn, you're going to hit that spot frequently. Even if Mack takes it away, he's going to expose a triple word square for you in a lot of instances. So this is a good decision here from Seth, and I really like that he did not play Julep here as well. If you play Julep, you set up a big back S hook that lets Mack hit big plays to catch back up. Seth is in a commanding position. Don't do that. Juke is another good decision from Seth, who is 4 for 4 in this game on making good decisions. Mack on ADEILSB has just the one playable bingo of Devisel. It plays alongside Pulque, making ED 74 points. It's the only place he can play this bingo, and there's not. Once he realizes the same thing, you're not going to forego a natural bingo in a game like this, are you, Jared?
No, this is exactly what you want when you're behind. A nice, easy 70, 75 point play. I have to assume he's looking for other bingos. I can't imagine what else he could be considering.
Yeah, just maybe there's an 8, maybe there's a 9, maybe he's looking even for a 10. Mack is such a freak. He does know these things and would find these things. So take the extra second, but Devisel, the only playable bingo here for Mack, this is what we're going to see him play. He still trails after the bingo, brings him within 34, 231 to 265. And Seth has to be a little bit sad that his big X play was wiped out, but he can still cash it in for a mammoth score on Seth's rack right now, 45 for the word Expo and EL. That's probably his next move.
Yeah, what I like about that is that the X scores, but you're not also giving Mack the chance to use the X on the next turn to get his own points. Often, what players make a mistake with is they play the X somewhere that just allows the opponent to get a lot of easy points right back. So not only does it score 45, but it's nice and tight as well.
Just this situation for Seth here is exactly why Juke instead of Julep was an important decision. After Mack hits this bingo, Seth wants to try to wall off as many things as he can. You can start taking control of the board. If Juke had been Julep, there's no way to control this board. Just too much going on. So again, kind of showing the small nuance of Seth's last play paying big dividends. This is a much more dangerous situation if he plays Julep last turn.
Yeah, both players have been playing, I'd say, essentially perfectly to begin this game. And both players have been drawing, I'd say, pretty much nearly perfectly as well. So we asked for fireworks, we asked for a close game, and we've gotten both.
Yeah, just perfect play from these players, and not many of these turns have been like superbly difficult, but you have to be very consistent. You have to get every play right. Sometimes Scrabble gives you easy racks. I think there are probably 10 or 20 players who would have played exactly the same sequence or strings that these players played so far, but you have to do it. You have to do it consistently. And I'll point out, this is game 21. They have played 7 games of Scrabble 3 days in a row. There is major brain drain that goes on across a lengthy Scrabble tournament like this. The consistency that we still see 3 days in is superb from these guys.
And one thing we see, Matt, you and I were actually talking about it in the break, is that the experienced players often tend to do quite well in these tournaments. We see players who have been on the scene for quite some time, Joe Edley and Ian Weinstein and Seth Lipkin, all right at the top of the field. And they've been in these moments so many times before. I think that really pays off.
I think Seth had lined up on his rack a possible 8-letter bingo that he could have octuplex, setting that up for us. No floating C to make that happen, but Seth showing off, I know a lot of words, and I'm good at finding them too. Won't fit here, but Expo, Seth's best play, is what he pulls the trigger on. Seth now 5 for 5 on high-scoring plays, and after 5 moves, 310 on the scoreboard for him. Mack has to try to keep pace here. AFINOST does not yield bingos. He does have 40 points available, though. On the right side of Divisal with 4 overlaps is Foist for 40, holding AN. He's also got nice bingo tiles. AINST can be kept together, and Matt can play off just FO in a few places. The highest scoring of those would be OF in the bottom left corner of this board, making PO. That's 23, holds Stain. Foist is 40, holds AN, but does play off the final S in this game. Jared, you looking for points, or do you think it's time for Mac to try and bingo?
I think the Stain leave is just so strong that even though it's 40 points for Foist, I think I would slightly be leaning towards of, but it's frustrating. You saw he lined up Fontina's if the N were in space. He really wants to bingo, and I would lean towards of, but I'm not sure that's right. What would you be doing here?
I would be using a lot of my remaining clock on this turn for sure. My gut instinct is to play OF here. I just feel like the position after Foist, all the goodies are gone, JQXZ gone, both blanks gone, all the S is gone. Like, it's going to be hard for me to overcome that deficit. Foist for 40, I still trail 271 to 310, and it's Seth's turn. I'm down 40 points. It's my opponent's turn. Bingo lines are starting to go away, and there's nothing else good I can draw in the bag. I don't like my prospects there. I think I'm going to play OF first. I think I'm going to try to bingo ASAP and then see where this game takes me.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. And the Stain leave, STAIN, goes really nicely with that P in the top left. It also goes nicely with some of those floaters in oversize, ERSI. So there's a clear path going forward if you make a play like of.
The engine also prefers the fish here. In Scrabble, you definitely do not always just make the highest scoring move. The letters you keep behind and the plan you have for next turn and the turn that follows, that's so important as well. This is a classic example of how scoring 17 fewer points is still the best thing to do if you can keep very synergistic combos together on your rack. OF winning a sim by 4 points over Foist right now.
Yeah, there's so many different things to consider. The score, how far into the game you are. You can't just look at plays in a vacuum. That's just not going to get it done at this level. These two players did not rise to the top of this field by just taking the highest scoring play. Now there is an alternate form of Scrabble called duplicate, often played in French-speaking countries, where everyone looks at the same rack and always just tries to find the best play. But that is not the type of Scrabble we are playing here.
The type of Scrabble we are playing here is awesome Scrabble. These players are so good. They make my job so easy as a commentator because I just find the best play and then I'm like, yep, Seth's gonna do that. Yep, Mac's gonna do that.
Yeah.
They do this all in 25 minutes without anagrammars, without computers, and in about the same amount of time we come to these conclusions as well. It has been so easy to commentate this tournament because these players have been playing so well. And another solid decision here for Mac. OF. He has found the E in the bag that he is looking for. Mac threatening a bingo next turn. Back to Seth. EFLNRTU. No bingos here. An E in space would give him refluent, but instead, not much he can do. Can cash in his F in different places. FLUE to the E in OG, a solid option that holds ENRT. Nice synergistic combination. Looks even better to make a play like that when you consider 4 A's and 6 I's unseen. ENRT drawing into A's and I's. That looks very powerful. But Seth can score more points. FELT in the bottom left side of this board, making ELF, POL, and OFT is 31. So, Jared, do you think ride the equity train, keep the synergistic ENRT? Or do you think score 31 right now and put pressure on Mac?
I mean, Seth doesn't have to bingo being ahead, so 31 points is a lot. That would put him up about 90. Um, I would also like to see him try and obstruct lanes if possible. Like those ERSI floaters that I mentioned are going to be a big factor for Mac coming back in this game. I just don't see a nice play there necessarily to really muck things up. So I think it's not how I often play things, but I'd be leaning towards Felt here.
FUSEL through the S in oversize is another option. That's one you usually discount pretty quickly if you're trying to control the board, but all 4 S's are gone. Both blanks are gone. There are no bad hooks still available.
There's an S on Mac's rack.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, there's an S on Mac's rack. Never mind. I will stop talking. It is a brain drain for me too here in round 21. But yeah, don't do that, Seth. That doesn't look like a good option anymore.
But like we're talking about the importance of mucking up those really nice floaters, ERSI, those are bingo tiles. Mac wants to bingo. And we know that looking at his rack, he could play hairnets through that R. So this is the sort of reason why you want to be trying to muck up that spot. It's just you normally try and do it by putting an overlap above the letters. And I'm just not seeing a way to do it. So if he were to go below, or if he were to extend below going vertically, anything he does is going to give Mac more options. So it's a really tricky turn to navigate. And I think that's why we're seeing Seth has used more clock on this turn than any other turn this game.
Seth has made every turn correct in this game, so I'm by no means trying to knock him, but Seth has had a number of pretty easy decisions in this game so far. The degree of difficulty just turned way up for Seth on this turn. Lots of decent options, but no stellar options. Looks like he is opting to play net surf through the S here, trying to muck up those floaters, but also setting up opportunity for Mac.
I mean, couldn't he play restful if he were to go there and then it doesn't take it back S, if that's sort of his strategy?
Yes, but he's done this instead.
Yeah, okay. So if I were to play this sort of play, I would much rather see restful come down just because it doesn't take it back S, I assume. Hopefully it doesn't.
Let me double check that because the lexicon always does don't know. Restful does not take any of the hooks. So while that does put one extra floater in space, maybe a slightly better way to do this. But somehow, with a great Tysane rack, Mac doesn't have any bingos that pluralize net surf from Seth. Seth takes a big risk. Looks like he could be punished, but nobody's home. The only bingo playable for Mac is what he's got set up right now. Inerts through the R in net surf, just 63 points. Wow.
But 63 points, if the score has been updated, will take him to 317, just down 15. So down about 15 plus tempo. That's manageable. He's trying to think, are there other options? Because he really would like his bingo to score more from that P or hooking that play of net surf. But he's going to want, if he's going to make an intermediate play like that, to score decently as well. And I just don't see how he can say score 30 and still keep a nice leave. So he's going to have to take the bingo here.
You've got to take the bingo here, indeed. And if I'm Seth, at first I'm like, no, the bingo. And then I realize, oh, this is actually good. I'm still in control. I'm up 15. The final S just got played, so net surfs is out of play. This is still very much my game to lose. So, Seth dodging a bullet from Mac there. This could have been an 80 or 85 pointer. Instead, just 63. Seth retains control of the lead. And AGIILRW, a rack that might be challenging, in this instance looks a little bit more straightforward. Swig from the S in Earth does everything you'd like a play to do. You score points, you undouble your eyes, you get rid of the unwieldy WG. One problem with Swig is you put that G down in the bottom right corner of this board. There is still one unseen N for Mac to threaten ING bingos. But I think Swig is just so good that you have to play it here.
Yeah, Swig is so good, or everything else he could consider is just so bad. But the AILR leave would go pretty nicely on this board, the P in the top especially. But if he draws the N, which we now know he won't be able to, looking over at Mac's rack. So Mac drew that last N with an I. So he wouldn't have a bingo to the G on his first turn, but he could hang on to those two tiles and try and work towards a bingo if Seth goes that Swig direction.
Yeah, Swig is going to be the play for Seth, I'm almost certain. But the N, a very important pickup for Mac, and that's going to keep him in this game. Ooh, all right. Swig, the play from Seth. 24 more points on top of the 15 he already leads by. Seth up 3-5-6, 3-1-7. ABEINOY for Mac. He wants to keep this IN combination together, or if nothing else, he wants to keep the N. 3 more I's to come in the tile bag. Potentially, you can play the I, but you can't play the N if you want to keep your chances alive here. Mac probably also wants to leave the P and U in Pulque unobstructed to threaten other bingos up there while he fishes for the less likely line to the G. And he has plays that achieve all of that and do scoring pressure at the same time. BAY or ABY above OG look like really standout options here for Mac.
Yeah, playing something like Bay leaves EION, and that leave would go nice towards the two big lanes, the P and the G. So when you're making these plays, you always want to remember not only the strength of your leave in a vacuum, but how the strength of your leave works with the open lanes on the board.
Yeah, IN, an okay combination, but IN with a G and a big bingo line while I lose the game by 40 points. Oh, IN is awesome in this situation. Cannot break that up if you're Mac, or at least can't play the N. BAY on top of OG, making BOD, AG, and YE is 33. It gives some easy stacks back to Seth in front of the AG and YE that would score well and allow him to play off some cruddy tiles. But this play in terms of keeping the board alive for Mac's long-term approach is excellent. Keep the P in play, keep the G in play, keep a bingo-prone combination to try to hit him. And while EINO is generally a leave I scoff at because it's more vowels than consonants, there are a lot of consonants in this bag for Mack to draw. Bay feels better and better the longer you look at this position, but Mack definitely wants to optimize this. He's going to think about maybe ABYE to the E and OG 27 instead of 33, but gives him another floating A in space to keep things a little bit more dynamic. Mack will have to decide if he feels this is bingo or die territory, or if he just wants to take 6 extra points.
Yeah, and the chat has pointed out that Seth is drawn into a bingo. And he has now set it up on his rack. So I don't see any way Mack makes it play in the top left. If Seth is confident enough to pull the trigger, this would be pretty much game over.
Wow, yeah, what a pull from Seth. And if he plays this word, he deserves to win this game. He deserves everything that's happened. Seth has the 8-letter pilchard or pilchard, Pilchard, plays from the P right now. If Seth pulls the trigger on this, he deserves the game. And there it comes. This is fantastic from Seth. This play outside the top 20,000 eights, very deep. You never pull words like this, but to cash it in for 107 on this stage, Max just got to tip his cap. Well done from Seth.
I wish I was wearing a hat just so I could tip it. Like, that was quite the play. I would not have found that word because I don't think I know that word. Maybe there was a time I had studied it and learned it, but certainly I didn't remember it. And Seth did and found it in the biggest moment. Mack is just, his eyes are like agape, shocked at this play. And he did draw well. Honestly, all game, both players have been drawing really well, haven't they?
Both players have been drawing well, but Seth has been drawing better. Both blanks, J, Q, X, Z, all letters that Seth has played on this board in this game. But still, Pilchard, man, there are very few players in this room capable of making that play, and Seth is among them. That's great stuff. Seth has been a very good player for a very long time, but it looks like he's really started to turn a corner in this tournament. Seth making a big statement against Mack Meller here.
Yeah, I think Seth retired a year or two ago, if I'm not mistaken, and maybe he has more time to devote to studying, or I'm not sure what it is, but whatever Seth's doing, I want a bit of that magic in my own game, but maybe it would take a lot more work than I've been willing to put into it.
And what makes everybody so happy about Seth's performance? A, he's playing very well and he deserves a lot of this, but B, he's just the most awesome dude. He's really nice, really wholesome to be around. You never hear negativity from him. He literally donated one of his 2 kidneys to a stranger to save his life. Seth is a 10 out of 10 class act, and look at this, a 10 out of 10 Scrabble player in this game. Way to go, Seth.
And you know who else is a 10 out of 10 nice guy in class act? Mack Meller, sitting right across the table from him. Just so many nice guys in this field. And as we're mentioning some of the nice guys at this tournament, I wanted to quickly mention one guy who couldn't be here, my late friend, Lou Cornelis. So we lost Lou a couple months ago to cancer, and just wanted to mention him because he was such a great guy, great Scrabble player, and even better human.
As longtime partner Lila Sinanan left behind as well. She's a sweetie too. But Lou, a fantastic gentleman. He will be missed. I got the pleasure of meeting Lou just last year at the Niagara Falls tournament, and I have never seen a player walk around with a literal OSPD, just marking it up with a pen, with a Sharpie, with a highlighter. That is how Lou approached the game. Very old school, but also very lethal over the board. Lou, you will be missed.
He loved that his handwritten notes in the dictionary. I went to visit him shortly before he passed, and he had the energy to play a couple games. And after the game, he was looking up words. He must have known he would never have a chance to use those words again, but he just loved to learn.
Yeah, and people who love to learn are people who are so good at Scrabble. You can always learn more. You can always see deeper layers of strategy. There are always more cool words you can pick up. Seth, also a player who loves to learn. He loves to study. He's been putting in his reps as he has shown us across the stream. And Seth, going to get a big victory here. One more big play from Seth on this turn. He's going to break 500 points, making a statement in the final game of day 3.
Yeah, today we have seen just juggernauts going against each other and putting up really impressive performances. We saw Ori lose in the last game when he didn't do anything wrong. And now we're going to see the same thing for Mac here. Both players, played their hearts out, and sometimes in Scrabble, it's just not enough.
When you have two extremely talented players, one of them has to lose. It's just like in football or basketball. Like, two great teams make it to the NBA Finals, and only one of them will be the champion. But that doesn't necessarily mean the other one did anything wrong. And in this game, pretty much nothing Mac did wrong. But look at this. Seth
Yeah.
holding the last A is going to set up the spot to play in front. A, B, Y, E. He's going to leave one tile in the bag for Mac. And now he's going to crush even more points. So waiting just a moment to get to 500, but he's going to do it with oomph after the setup.
Yeah, like it's not enough just to win. You got to have spread. If you want to beat someone who has the same record as you to be one of the two finalists, and Seth has the spread because he's been making plays like this from the start of games right till the end of games.
He's going to reach in the bag. I think he's going to draw an O. Nope, Mac's going to draw the O. I thought he'd have CIAO fitting into this game. You set it up, you draw it, you crush it, but doesn't draw the O. It's on Mac's rack. Seth's not going to be able to cash in on the nice setup here, but ACEIIRW, Seth's last rack, he'll still be able to cash in points to break that 500-point threshold. We're going to see nearly a 1,000-point game in our final game in NWL. Wow.
And this will be my final game of the tournament. Really appreciate you having me here. I hope the audience likes the different commentators rotating in and out. I loved seeing Andy's positivity and decisiveness. I loved listening to Mina with a really sharp, calculating mind. I loved watching you with your brother. It's just been one great commentator after another. And the next 2 days, you guys are in for a treat. I think I've seen him popping in the chat recently. Morris Greenberg will be joining you for the last 2 days of this event.
Yeah, Jared, it has been stellar having you on. Jared is always such a joy to work with. He brings such insights. We always appreciate him and his time. Thanks, Jared, for coming on. Always love having you on. And yes, as Jared mentioned, tomorrow and for the rest of the tournament, Matt Canik and Morris Greenberg will be your commentary booth as things get really intense. Days 4 and 5 coming on this channel tomorrow and the next day.
You love to see how Mac just takes a loss in stride. When he wins, he sort of has that, oh, shucks, I didn't even deserve it face. And when he loses, he's just like, yeah, I sort of whatever. And when you lose scoring, he's going to go over 450 here. Like, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah. What are you supposed to do? As long as you feel you played the game as best as possible, there's not much to think about. Just have a good attitude. And, you couldn't lose to a more likable guy, too. If I'm going to lose to anybody on the national stage like this, I want it to be Seth Lipkin, man.
No kidding. So this will bring Seth to within one game of Mac, and he'll have the spread advantage. So he's very much in the running. We're not sure what happened in the other game with Ian and Joe. So regardless, someone will be at least just one game out of the top two going into the last 2 days.
Yeah, going into the last 2 days, it is a spicy one. Ian has been on a tear. Chat pointing out Ian has won 8 straight games, and with this loss, Ian could be in sole possession of first place. Ian, another player who has been so good for so long and has never quite put it together. But the last time the national championship was in Indiana, an older gentleman from the South came through and took the title. That player, the late David Gibson, Could another older gentleman from the South come through and win another Indiana championship? That's what Ian seeks to do over the next 2 days.
And I'm seeing Chloe won her game. So not only will Seth go up to 15 wins, but Chloe is already there. And they're trying to get to the leaders at 16 or possibly 17 if Ian is able to take down Joe Edley.
Mac, Ian, Seth, and Chloe, 4 fantastic players as this field starts to narrow. We saw Ori Swift essentially eliminated with his loss last round. Jackson Smiley got the bye. That's how his tournament has been going. He was 9-10 and received the bye because he was the lowest rated person who hadn't yet had it. So you're seeing some great talented individuals get eliminated. To be in contention now, kudos to Mac, to Ian, to Seth, and to Chloe. Great performances. Let's cut to overhead mic and see what we get from these folks.
4, 10, 11, 12, 27. Your wig is a verb.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Goodness. I don't know where to start here.
So I had Juke. I had Julep. Juke is what I saw first as I was drawing. Then I saw Juke.
So what else did you have?
And then I kept. I thought about Julep. I had Plux. Plux.
What a ride.
Along with that, yeah. So I could have played Julep, but I was like, no, I can't give you.
No.
I got a big lead here. I can't give you anything.
And then you save XU.
And I saved XU. I actually didn't even notice that for a while. I mean, there was. The only way I was going to play X here is if I had Juke, which I didn't. So that just.
But you want to play here because this is still open.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Totally.
That's exactly why I did that. So I cannot keep this open.
Yeah, and I mean, this, as it turns out, this would have worked out better, but it was not the right play. This is absolutely the right play.
Oh, I see what you said. Yes. Yeah. I was not leaving you 2 different E.
No way.
Including a 2 disconnected E max special.
Right, this skipped ELU, but the queue was open, so I actually was like trying to distract you here. And then this skipped AV. So I mean, I had like horrible racks, but I was dealing with them okay.
And then the only question is if there's anything with an E here, which I didn't ever saw.
I don't really see it now.
I didn't see anything.
Make sure I didn't miss. I had Stain, STAI. I think it's just Fontina's factions out there.
Oh, I see. I did have. So I had on this turn. I had Refluent minus E. So I hope I didn't
Flaunter.
Yeah. So Flaunter's Refluent or this plus I.
Unfilter is not good.
Unfilter. No, because I had 2 I's. And here I felt
this is backwards. Profluent.
I set it up on my right. I had Perfluent and I looked at it. I saw Profluent. So it's nice to see things. But
unartful doesn't work even. I don't think you have thing like that.
Oh, did I?
No. You had an E.
I had Unfelt. Yeah. But I'm not doing that.
No.
All these plays. I don't know what to do here. I don't know if you have. I was going to thought about Tinful.
You don't want to create. There's another S out. I mean, you don't want to.
Yeah. The other one was just Flu here, keeping a really nice lead. And I was like, I just want to reduce your chances of hitting any of these 3 loads.
Oh, I might have gone with Flu, just hoping if I bingoed here, you can counter. But I mean, there were no S unseen. But I mean,
that's true.
I don't know. That's a tough one.
Oh,
because it's crazy shootout.
This was not any more points.
Hey, Mom, how's my turn?
What am I gonna do, right?
Semolina. I learned that word from a Beatles song.
This one?
Yeah.
Why are you writing here?
Because they asked us to, Josh. Thank you.
I don't know. It's like
I could have opened with indoors for 2 more, but I didn't want to put the S on the star.
Oh, indoors. And I'm sitting with 2 blanks.
You would have played indoors? Really?
Oh my God, we already had one of these.
Seth won 518 to 473.
You should feel
Yeah.
Wow.
Play more around than I did.
Man, all 3 of my games on stream have been crazy.
Wait, come back, Eric.
I got 45.
Yeah, I agree.
You should check.
Yeah. Sure, they want to hear from you.
What's that?
Sure, they want to hear from you.
Oh, you think so? 13, 473. So just 45 points.
Yeah,
My
I'm
first-
pretty happy with that.
I scored 45, 1, 2, 3, 4,
I mean, you
5
had-
turns in a
You
row.
had 310 after 5 turns. I mean,
They haven't given us. Are we supposed to talk? I don't know. Yeah. What's that?
did you win again?
I did, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's
What's that?
super,
Where's
yeah, super
the head
easy.
Yeah, it's, I think we're all tied.
Yeah, everyone.
Come over here.
Okay, wow.
I just lost with a 506.
You did?
To 578.
Yeah, I was 473, 518. I did everything I could. I had 4 natural bingos. I mean, what can I do?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
I think I played pretty well.
All right, so Seth,
Who
can
else?
you hear me all right so far?
I need some volume. How do I? Oh, thank you.
All right, well, I'll keep making some noise. Test,
Lot of
test,
volume.
test. Seth, would love to get you on the headset as soon as
Huh?
we can. We'll get thumbs up for 6 months.
That's good. That's good.
You just lost.
Yeah. Hey,
I'm on now.
Seth, this is Matt
Hey.
and Jared on the stream. What
Hey.
an exciting game to watch. Wow.
That was crazy.
So, I mean, we said going into the matchup, nobody is going to sit down and outplay Mack Meller. But while maybe you can't outplay someone as perfect as him, you can go neck and neck and play
It's gonna be a
just
dogfight
as
tomorrow.
perfect.
It's like a bunch of us tonight.
That's a clinic from you. I think
Oh.
the big play there, Pilchard from the P, 107 points. Tell us your thought process here. Were you certain on that word? How do you know this word?
So first of all, I spotted it immediately, and I didn't set it up just to. I didn't want to telegraph anything to Mac. I actually know the word pilchard from the song "I Am the Walrus" by the Beatles, which includes the lyrics "Semolina pilchard." So yeah, I was super fortunate this game that so much timing and still only won by a tiny bit against this guy here who's so good. So, but yeah, I saw Pilchard and
testament
then
to how good a player Mac is, that he could stay in the game, but also a testament to who you are as a player now, the evolution we've seen of Seth Lipkin. Mac bingoed 4 times. Did you let that stop you, Seth?
well, because I got lucky. No, I guess not. And it was fun because I was seeing things like, as Mac also pointed out after the game, I was one off from Profluent. I had Poor Fluent and Refluent, clearly, and Flaunter and stuff like that. Flaunty or Ultrafine. But yeah, none of the big ones played, but getting 2 blanks out of the gate was super helpful. Just not just for scoring the points, but also for taking the time that blanks might take out of the equation, which is good for me because sometimes I have time trouble. This game was fine, but sometimes blanks are hard.
Sometimes blanks are hard. Sometimes Scrabble's hard. This was a hard game, but one that you crushed, just consistently making extremely high-level plays, scoring a ton of points, knocking off Mack Meller. And you probably haven't had a chance to digest standings yet, but Ian also dealt a loss. You are 1 game off the pace with 7 to go. Have you ever had a start like this to a national before, Seth?
Never. I've never been close to this. I won out one of the last 8 games of one of the tournaments to finish 15th, but that was entirely different. I was playing lower rated players in the tournament during that period, and until I won a few of them, and then I had a 10th place finish, but nothing like this. And as I posted yesterday, I didn't expect this to keep up. I didn't expect it. I didn't even expect the day 2 that I had. But I'm grateful to have gone 3 and 4 today after looking like it might be 2 and 5. So I was 2 and 4 and having to play Mac. So yeah, so I'm real happy to be in 3rd place at all, and even more so to be within a game, which is crazy.
Tomorrow will be full of drama and big decisions. It's all going to be here on Twitch for our viewers at home, but this is not the last we're going to see of Seth Lipkin in this one. Seth, is there anything different that you've done over the last couple months or years to prepare for this Nationals compared to the player you have been?
I don't think anything in particular. In fact, I studied the 7s and 8s a lot less than normal. I did do. I have been doing some Wiggles quizzes, which is real life situations. It helps me remember to look in all the places on the board. I don't know if I've accomplished that. I hear I missed. Um, what was it? Urbanism, where I thought it didn't fit, but apparently it did. I thought the M hit thug, but that was a bad miss. But live and learn. Pay more attention. So mostly, mostly nothing that much different. I am playing a little faster and more confidently, which helps me panic less towards the end, which I think is helpful. It stops some of the panic plays.
Yeah, Seth, always a player who's had great command of the words, able to put the pieces together this year as well, holding on to some time, sneaking out just 1 or 2 extra end games. Seth, congratulations on your performance so far. A lot of people out there are rooting for you, and as I was saying, it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. We're going to let you step away, enjoy your second to last night in Indiana. Have a nice dinner. Thanks for your time. Best of luck tomorrow, Seth.
Thank you so much, Matt.
Congrats. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
And with that, we are going to wind down our coverage of this. Matt and Jared signing off for today. We will be back at 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, day 4, a big pressure cooker of an event will be right here. Y'all, we'll see you soon. Have a good night.